Hello everyone. So in this class I will be giving you all an introduction to Indian writing in English. Okay. So you see, English literature in the Indian context has become a very significant part, and also it is a widely read literature. Okay. Now you see, how did, first of all we have to understand how did English language came into India. Okay, we all know that with the advent of the Britishers, when the Britishers came into India, they brought their language with them, isn't it? And how did our people, our Indian people, got introduced to that language? You see, first of all, it was a deliberate effort to learn the foreign language. Okay, but later on, what happened when the Britishers had introduced the missionaries and the English schools? So they had helped the Indian people to learn in English. Okay, they had helped the Indian people to converse, and also to try to acquire their language. And why did they do this? We want to know now, why do you think that the Britishers did this? Okay, they did this so that they can rule over the people on their own language. Okay, now you see, the root cause for India is the origin of Indian English, and this language was the main impact, you can say. The language was the main result of the Christian missionaries in the 19th and the 20th century. Okay, now you see, we will study about the Indian English literature. Okay, so what is Indian English literature? Basically, Indian English literature pertains to the body of work by writers from India who pen strictly in the English language. Now you see, there are many other literatures of India, but they cannot be called Indian English literature. Okay, they can be Indian literature, but they cannot be Indian English literature. In order to be called as Indian English, the language of the literature should be strictly in English. Okay, now you see, after that we also come to know about Indian diaspora. Okay, now I would like to explain to you what do we mean by diaspora. Okay, so Indian diaspora means, somebody who was maybe born, or maybe his ancestors were from India, but now he lives somewhere else. Okay, so his roots and origins are in India. So such people, when they write, those people are called as diasporic writers. Okay, so diasporic writers are the ones who write in English and who writes about India, or about their homeland, and but they do not reside in the country. Okay, now you see what happens. In the past few years, Indian English literature has attained an independent status in the realm of world literature. So by independent status, what do we mean? We mean that it is now no longer been called a colonial language. Okay, now what happens? India has gained an identity of its own. Okay, an identity of its own, and also we see that now Indian English literature has its own definition. Okay, before what happened? It was introduced by the British Empire, but now what happens? We see that it has an identity of its own and independent status. Okay, now Indian English is no longer the language of the colonizers. Now you see, Indian English writings deal with wide range of themes, and it reflects the history, the culture, and the social and traditional values. Okay, now what do you understand by the Indian culture? Indian culture, you see, the rituals, you say, the festivals, or whatever we we practice. Okay, that is our unique identity. Now how do we know that someone is Christian or someone is a Hindu? How? Through the cultural and religious differences, isn't it? Now India is very rich in its culture, and it is also very diverse, isn't it? It's very, very diverse. So we see that the Indian English also deals with this kind of cultural differences, okay, and traditions, like our customs. Our customs are really beautiful, isn't it? In Assam we have Bihu, and then similarly in Punjab we have Lori. So you see, like our cultures are different by our festivals, isn't it? And also by our mother tongue, and also by our language. So you see, like we are all in a big, you can say, we are united in a like a huge ball, okay, in a huge ball. But then what happens, this ball has got various different languages and also various different cultures. Now then, social values, okay, we also have different social values. You see, as Indians we are very very traditional, okay, we are very traditional people, and also our lifestyle, our way of living is very different from the foreigners, okay, or from the people of the, you can say, the Western countries. All right, for example, we live with our parents, but in the Western countries what we see is that after 18 years the children, they do not live with their parents, isn't it? So you see, we have a like different diversified like social value system. So you see, this kind of all themes are reflected in the Indian English literature, okay. And also the Indian history has been depicted in the Indian English literature and the depiction of life in India, okay. So for example, you see, when the partition occurred in 1947, or when the Sepoy Mutiny happened in 1857, you see, this kind of this kind of events are often shown in the literary texts, okay. We come to know about its references, isn't it? And then we see that Indian English fiction has been trying to give expression to the Indian experience of the modern predicaments, okay. So how Indian is different, okay, how the word Indian is different from the other you can say nations, other nativities. All right, so there you see, every country has got its rich experience, rich value system and cultures. So through the Indian English literature we come to know how our country has been very different from its bordering or neighboring countries. And then we come to know about the substantial contribution of the Indian English literature, okay. Now you see, India's substantial contribution to the world literature is due to the profusely creative literary works generated by Indian novelists in English. So you see, like in the world literature also, India holds a very very significant place. Why? Because a lot of writers, they have got Nobel prizes, they are nominated for Booker prizes, they have got Booker prizes and Sahitya Akademi prizes. So these are the writers who have achieved lot, okay, and they have achieved in the international field, okay, in the overall world literature, okay. So they have experienced, and also they have got a significant place among the world literature, okay. Now you see, who had thought that a foreign language which was not even ours, isn't it, this language did not belong to us, but it became a very very significant part of our life, okay. So you see, the works are contemplated and deliberated in on multifarious range of issues like nationalism, freedom struggle, social realism, individual consciousness, okay. Now you see, how do we know that a certain book is written on the certain themes? Now you see, when you read the book, okay, so through the characters of the novels or the short stories or the poems, the writers, they try to depict a certain story. So what our Indian English writers did, they tried to depict the stories through the different kinds of works that they produced through the poems, the poetries, okay, and then the short stories, and then the novels. So there they had this issues of nationalism, like how India acquired the sense to be independent, how India thought that this is high time we should fight for our own independence, isn't it? And then the freedom struggle, like how the all the freedom fighters, they had struggled and attained the freedom struggle, isn't it? And then social realism. So when we say social realism is basically, it is the kind of the representation of a social surrounding which is actually real. Okay, social realism means what? Reality of the society. Okay, so basically like it is something which is very much true and appropriated, and it is like it is depicted just as it is. For example, in India we have had the past of being prejudiced, isn't it? We were discriminated, okay, by the upper class people and also by the rich and the powerful classes. We see that several poor people, they were discriminated and dominated, isn't it? And so some novels, they had strictly written on these themes of social realism. Okay, so now you understand what the social realism means. Now you see individual consciousness. So individual consciousness means what? Like all of us, we have a different kind of originality in us. Okay, you are different from me, I am different from you. So when the individual consciousness means what the person which is inside us, okay, our consciousness, our conscious brain, what does it really wants? Okay, so consciousness is very much related to our conscience. Okay, so that is the individual consciousness. Now you see, now we will go to the Indian writing in English has distinguished itself as a remarkable force in the world fiction. Okay, now what is fiction? Fiction means what? Any imaginary story, okay, any imaginary writing piece which is not true. Okay, so fiction means something which is imagined, and non-fiction means something which is true. So what are the examples of fictions? Fictions are novels, isn't it, poems, and non-fictions are the autobiographies or the articles which are written on science and technologies. Okay, so these are the non-fictions where the figment of imagination doesn't come. Okay, so after that you see this has been achieved by novelists who have excelled in expressing their inner creative urges in English languages. Okay, so what happens? They try to express their inner creative energies through the English language, and which is an alien tongue for them. Alien means what? Which does not belong to us, okay, which belong to someone else. So English was previously an alien tongue for us. It is to the credit of these novelists that they have come to the hurdles of writing in a foreign language and have evolved a distinctive style for themselves. Okay, now you see they have written in a foreign language, but now we have a different style of writing. Okay, how do we know that it is Indian English literature? There are certain themes, okay, there are certain themes or there are certain characteristics which help us define which work is written in which work falls into which literature. So for example, if I say this work is African literature, so how will we know that one work is actually African literature or it is written from Africa? First of all, we will see that the writer, he belonged to Africa. Secondly, we will see about the important aspects and the events which is displayed in their works. So we, through the writers nationality, or through the writer's sense of belongingness, we come to know about the status of the or the regionality of the literature. Okay, now you see, Raja Rao, he famously argued in Kanthapura about how English language has adapted to Indian conditions. Okay, so so you see, now English language is no longer the language of the foreigners, or no longer an alien language. Why? Because our people have very well and very nicely adopted themselves to the Indian language. Okay, they have adapted themselves. Adapted means what? Get used to it. Okay, the Indian English language have proved their mark in the global literary scenario, in which the writers have captured the interest and imagination of the reader through poignant portrayals of various themes such as East-West conflict, multiculturalism, social realism, gender issues, comic aspect of human nature, ecological concern, magic realism, and diasporic writers. See, you all don't need to understand all of this, but then it is very important to know what the themes comprise of. Okay, so basically multiculturalism means what? When a country has got more than one culture. Okay, so it is multicultural, several cultures. And then social realism means it is based on the on the social realities. Okay, and the themes of this social evils, you can say. And then gender issues, how women have been discriminated, or how the women or the third gender had been discriminated in India. And then we see that the comic aspect of human nature is also there. Okay, so in the comic plays, or the plays, or the, you can say, the novels or the poems which are related to comedy, there we see the comic aspect of human nature. And then ecological concerns, magic realism. So magic realism means what? When reality is being infused with magic. Okay, so the figment of imagination and magic is described in such an intrinsic manner that we come to know that it is as if it is something very real. Okay, it is portrayed as something very believable. So you have understood this. Now we will go to the dominant themes of Indian English literature, means what are the main themes. Now how will we know that whether a literature has been Indian English, or whether it is from the different country? Okay, how will we know it? Now you see, the first theme that will distinguish is the historical, political, and the nationalist theme. Okay, so for example, you see, in Indian English language, what happens? It talks about the history of the country. Okay, it talks about the British colonialism, how the Britishers had invaded India, isn't it? And how they had made our own people our slaves. And then it talks about the political, and you see how the people, they struggled, isn't it, for their equal rights in the country. And then the nationalist themes, the struggle for the independence. So you see, these kind of themes are actually prevalent in the Indian English literature. Okay, now you see, first of all, one of the important writers is that Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Okay, this is M, not O. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy Sati. It is one. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was one of the first writers who wrote in the Indian English literature. So you see, during this time when Raja Ram Mohan Roy wrote this, we see that we see the different examples of colonial oppression. Colonial oppression means what? when the Britishers tried to, impose their colonial ideologies on us. Okay, what did they do? They made our own people, our Indian people, slaves. Okay, they made our own people slaves, and also they ruled uh, upon the citizens of the country. Okay, they ruled upon the entire citizens, and also what did they do? They tried to, convert us into their religion, and also they tried to impose their language, their English language. And also what did they do? They brought the missionaries. Okay, so missionaries in order to promote their language and religion. And what did they do? They also tried to, loot the country, and by making the poor people more poor. Okay, and by taking heavy taxes from the Indians. So you see, these kind of things are often written in the novels. Okay, in the novels you will find that most novels, it talks about the colonial oppression. And then enslavement to political independence. So what does it means, enslavement to political independence? Enslavement means what? Being enslaved means what? Being a servant, or being, bonded under someone. Okay, means what happens? A slave has no freedom, isn't it? So similarly, when the Indian people were under the British, they also had no freedom, so they were enslaved. And then to political independence, it means after the enslavement, they came to know about their rights, and then they had a feeling of nationalism. So from there they got this political independence. Okay, now then Indian English literature had been a means for Indians to give form and utterance to hopes and despairs, enthusiasm and apathy, the thrill and joy at the step and pain in the nation's history. And it moved as it has moved from slavery to revolution, from revolution to independence, and again from independence to arduous tasks of reconstruction. So you see, this is a cycle. Okay, and how does literature, you think, what do you feel like, how does literature motivates this kind of events? So you see, when we actually write something, okay, when we write about the oppression of the Britishers, like how the Britishers had been, torturing us, how they had been tormenting us, so indirectly what do? We create a sense of hatred for them. We create a sense of nationalism. Okay, so when we read those poems or those novels which talked about the British oppression, then what happens? We become angry, and then we try to fight for our rights. So from there, from enslavement, then what happens? We go to revolution, isn't it? And when we do revolution, then what we see? After revolution comes the independence, isn't it? Means only after revolution we see that, revolution is a big process, and after that we see that we had gained independence, isn't it? And then again, from the independence to the arduous tasks of reconstruction. Reconstruction means what? Nation building. When this like independence happened, then after that what happened? After independence, India had to again reconstruct itself, again from being a poor country which was looted by the Britishers. It had to establish itself, and then it has to establish the order, isn't it? And it has to decrease the disparity or the differences between the rich and the poor people. Now after this, what we see is that Raja Rao's Kanthapura. Now you see, these examples are really important because you sometimes you need to give these examples in your writings, and you at least need to know a few writers. Okay, for in order to write your answers, always give examples. So you see, Raja Rao's Kanthapura, this is one of the most important texts. Okay, so Raja Rao's Kanthapura, then Mulk Raj Anand's Untouchable, R.K. Narayan's Waiting for Mahatma are the examples of the theme of independence and struggle and the aftermath of independence. So these texts, what did they do? These texts, they talked about the struggle for independence. Okay, and then the partition was also a painful event, and the writers highlighted its ill effect in writing. So partition means what? The division of India, isn't it? So when India was divided into two countries, India and Pakistan, so what happened? You see, this was a deliberate effect, and this was mainly carried out by the Britishers and the All India Muslim League. They wanted a separate country for themselves. All right. So when they tried to break the country into two halves, then what happened? It became a very painful event. There were murders, there were like suicides. Okay, then there were rapes, then there were people who were killing each other on the basis of religion. It went into a very big war. Okay, so this kind of themes of partition is also reflected in the Indian English writing. Okay, now we will see about the different themes. Now we had already discussed about the social realism, what the social realism means. So social realism is basically the representation of the social reality or the social events in the Indian scenario. Okay, so there what we see that depicting social issues for reform was one of the major themes of Indian English literature, which talked about the lives of the common man. Okay, it's very important. Which meant the common man means the poor people. Okay, the poor or the middle class or the disadvantaged people who had fought for equality. All right, and also the ill treatment they used to face in the society. So you see, the poor or the lower class people who resided in the pre-independent era or even after independence, you see, those people had to suffer a lot of you know a lot of inequality and oppression from the higher class people. Okay, so the Indian English literature also dealt with this kind of themes. Then after this we see the important theme dealt with the experiences and immigrants who left their land and took into writing to express their experiences of anger, frustration and identity. So you see, this is what? This is Indian diaspora. I had already mentioned about the definition, what did diaspora mean. Okay, now you see, diaspora so this diasporic writer, they wrote about their country India from a different space, from a different country, isn't it? And then who had left their land. Okay, so some people, what did they do? They deliberately left, and some people had to leave because of the unavoidable circumstances like the partition or the British colonialism. Okay, so you see, so they also wrote their experiences, their frustration, anger and identity. So you see, basically this Indian English literature was a whole impression of people's experiences, isn't it? Like anybody who would feel anything, or who would see the society, so they would write these things um, on their texts. Okay, for example, so what are the examples of Indian diasporic writers? Kiran Desai, The Inheritance of Loss. This is also an example of the of a diasporic novel, and the Interpreter of Melodies by Jhumpa Lahiri. So after this we see feminism and women empowerment. Okay, so feminism and women empowerment is also one of the main issues. So you see, in India we had a lot of women related issues like child marriage, isn't it? So after child marriage we see that there is also what, sati. Now you see, sati, S-A-T-I, sati is one of the significant social evils, you can say. So what happens when a child or a woman is widowed, okay, if her husband dies, then what happens, she also has to burn with him in his funeral pyre. Okay, so this system of sati was abolished by the Britishers, but even after that it was still carried out in many places of India. Okay, and so these issues were highlighted by several women writers. And also we see like apart from sati, the child marriage, we also see the patriarchal exploitation. Okay, the exploitation by the male dominated society. So there also you see, like, women had to fight for their equality, for their representation, or for their identity. Okay, the quest for equality and identity. So in order to form an identity, they had to fight. Okay, and these issues were mainly highlighted by the writers such as Anita Desai, Kamala Das, Sashi Deshpande, Arundhati Roy, Nayantara Sehgal, etc. Okay, now after this we come to know about the contemporary themes. So contemporary themes means what? The modern themes, like what the current Indian English literature deals with. Okay, so the modern themes were basically the industrialization, the urbanization, globalization, and social the changing social dynamics. And and the writers who experienced with this kind of contemporary novels was Salman Rushdie, Amitav Ghosh, and Arvind Adiga. Okay, so in the contemporary, in the modern times, we see that there are industrialization is rapidly happening in India. Okay, and it has started in the post independence era rapidly, and globalization, it started around the 1990s. Okay, so you see, like when this thing started, then again what happened, the writers wrote these events in their novels. Okay, they centered their events along with the novels. So and then changing the social dynamics. So how social dynamics, for example, the you see the queer theories, okay, or the lesbians who did not get or the gay lesbians who did not get representation in the earlier society. So basically what happened, the society was very much accepting. Okay, and people used to write openly about these changes. So you see, and then writers like Salman Rushdie, who wrote the novel Shame, for which there was a fatwa or or a warrant against him. Okay, so which for which he was ordered to be killed. All right, so you see, these writers took up very sensitive issues, okay, to write and to represent their literature. So you see, literature for these writers such as Salman Rushdie, it was a sort of a rebellion, you can say, or a form of expression. Okay, so these are all the themes that I have been talking about. So first of all, the historical, political and the nationalist themes, the social realism, the Indian diaspora, and then the women and the like feminism and the women empowerment, and then the contemporary themes. Okay, so so basically the overall idea of the whole chapter is that like what do we basically mean by Indian English literature, what are its themes, how did it begin in India. Okay, and then and then like who were the writers who wrote on certain themes of India, Indian English literature. So you see, these writers, they have been clubbed into three categories. Okay, so the first generation writers, so first generation means the earlier writers. Okay, so these writers who wrote in the pre-independent era, these were the writers such as Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Henry Dorazio, Aurobindo. Okay, so these writers wrote on the themes of independence, nationalism, freedom struggle, and partition and social reforms. Okay, so after this comes the second generation. Now on the second generation, they what did they wrote? They wrote on equality, social reforms, diaspora. So different challenges and then different perspectives came in the second generation, and then came the third generation. So in the third generation, what happened? It talked about the modern themes such as the urbanization, the globalization, and then the feminine subjects. Okay, then the queer representation, and then also explorative writings, then travel literature. So you see, a lot of themes were explored in these generations. Okay, so the first important, and now if I tell you like which are the main aspects that we need to focus from an examination point of view, from an examination point of view, you have to understand the main features of Indian English literature. How did the Indian English literature came into its form? Okay, how did it had developed itself into a prominent field of literature? And then we have to know who were the pioneers of Indian English literature, who first started the concept of Indian English literature, or who first started writing in Indian English literature. Okay, and then also we have to know about the different stages of Indian English literature, the first wave, second wave, and the third wave. Then we have to know the different themes of Indian English literature. Okay, so the themes which we have already discussed. Okay, and it is very important for us to know at least the names of 10 writers of Indian English literature. Okay, basically 5 women writers, and then maybe 5 5 writers from the pre-independent era, and then again 5 writers from the post-independent era, and some modern contemporary writers. Okay, so if we prepare ourselves nicely with all these things, I think it will be a cakewalk for us. Okay, it will be very easy for us. Okay, so we will meet again in the next class. Thank you.